This equation is part of the second word problem on your review sheet. Let me read that problem for you. Radiation therapy is one technique used to control cancer. After treatment, the total number of cancerous cells n in thousands. So n in this formula, in this equation, n represents the number of cancerous cells. And that's in thousands. That's in thousands. The number of cancerous cells n in thousands after t days of treatment. Okay? So the t represents the days of treatment. It's very important to understand what the letters represent in a formula like this. So that's the formula that relates the number of cancerous cells in thousands with the number of days of treatment that have occurred. How many days of treatment has a patient received if 108,000 cancerous cells still remain? So the 108 is the n value, isn't it? So we want to know how many days of treatment, that's what the T stands for, T for time, days of treatment. How many days of treatment will it take to get the number of cancerous cells down to 108,000? And the only reason I put in 108 is because that's already factoring in the thousands. I don't put in 108,000 because then that would be actually 108,000, be 108 million. No, we want it down to 108,000, and the n already factors in 1,000. So I have this quadratic equation I need to solve. Oh, I don't like that coefficient of my squared term to be negative. So I'm going to add 4t squared to move it over to this side. And now I need to get rid of the 144 so that I'll end up having 0 on one side of my equation, which is what I need to have when I solve a quadratic equation. So I'm going to subtract 144 from both sides. So I have 4t squared minus, let's see, that'll be 36, won't it? 108 minus 144 gives me negative 36. And now I want to solve this quadratic equation. Well, we solve it by factoring, and one thing I notice, aren't both of those numbers divisible by 4? Four t squared divided by 4 would leave t squared. 36 divided by 4 would leave 9. Oh, and this is the difference of squares, isn't it? I can square t to make t squared, and I can square 3 to make 9. So this is going to factor into t plus 3 times t minus 3. And now, won't t being negative 3 make that become 0? And won't t being positive 3 make that factor become 0? And I need one of those factors to become 0 so that the 0 factor will make that side become 0, that left side of the equation 0. So t being negative 3, what does t represent? Days of treatment. So I'm not sure how to interpret negative 3 as days of treatment. But I know how to interpret 3. That says that after 3 days of treatment, the number of cancerous cells would be down to 108,000. So that's what I would say. After 3 days of treatment, the cancerous cells are down to 108,000. Remember, it's important to put some words with the numbers that you've found to make the numbers meaningful in a word problem.